The Air Force Chief of Staff is at Wright-Patterson today getting a first-hand look at the damage to the base housing because more than 100 homes were damaged by the Monday tornadoes. And 2 News reporter Deborah Bogart joins us live with his message to now displaced Air Force families.
Yeah, General Goldfein is the United States top uniformed officer for the Air Force today, spending about an hour and a half here at this housing subdivision that received damage, as well as the Air Force Museum that received minimal damage. He spent his time here thanking first responders and says the community is getting support from the United States Air Force. Now, one of the 14 tornadoes touching down this past Monday damaged 150 homes used by families stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. A release from the base says 14 homes have been identified as uninhabitable, 5 of which were vacant. Base agencies are accommodating the families with proper housing, and Friday afternoon, General David Goldfein traveled to the Miami Valley to tour the damage. He says the United States Air Force actually does not have insurance, but says in the same instance of Tyndall and Moffett Air Force bases that received storm damage, they will work to get federal aid.
We know that there's a number of members of Congress who've been working this really hard. It hasn't come through yet, but we're hopeful at this point that it will come through.
He says he knows damage in other areas like downtown Dayton were also hit hard, which affects Wright-Patterson Air Force Base because of its close ties to the community. He spent a few minutes during his tour really thanking the first responders and everyone who has helped with recovery efforts.
And many of these families are there without their military member because the military member or the civilian military member is deployed. And what we need is privatized housing contractors to feel like they're accountable and responsible for taking care of those families. And this one does that.
Now, General Goldfein says one other aspect of his tour, other than checking on families, was to make sure that the chain of command took proper action to keep these families safe, but also have helped with recovery efforts. And he says he is pleased to report that the response from the chain of command and the community has been swift. Reporting live at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Deborah Bogart, 5 on 2.